Jake here for American Trucks, and today I'm taking a look at the Red Rock Rebel Style Upper Replacement Grille with LED daytime running lights, fitting 2019 and newer Ram 1500 Bighorn, Laramie, Lone Star, and Tradesman models. Bring a little bit of that aggressive off-road Rebel style to your Ram with this upper replacement grille from Red Rock. This is an easy way to change up the look of your front end, add some additional lighting to bring some of that Rebel flavor to your own truck, all for an affordable price tag. If you're on the hunt for that extra something to set your Ram apart from the pack, then this grille from Red Rock is going to appeal to you. It features this open honeycomb pattern reminiscent of Ram's own Rebel, or a truck that you might find pulling off jumps out in the desert. You also get these 4 LED lights at the top of the grille to add to that signature off-road look, and they integrate with your daytime running lights for seamless functionality. Now this is a bolt-in replacement for your stock grille too, so you can just put this right on without having to modify the truck itself. And if you're going for that blacked out theme, then this is gonna look right at home on your truck as well. Now this does remove the front emblem, but that just opens up the front grille a little bit, making for some additional airflow into the engine bay, so you get some extra function to go along with your form. Now I think that this makes the whole setup look just that much more aggressive, so if you're on the hunt for that type of look, this is gonna be a win-win for you. Construction here is all high quality ABS plastic, so it's strong, it's lightweight, and it's durable. And that black finish comes just like you see it right out of the box, so it's ready to mount. And since it is ABS plastic, you do have the option to get this painted pretty easily, so if you want to change it up, you've got the option to do that as well. And since you have LEDs here for the lights, these are gonna have a nice long lifespan too, so no need to worry about having to replace bulbs. And since this was CAD designed with OEM data from Ram themselves, this should fit just right in place of your stock grille as well. No need to worry about modifying anything. Coming in around $300, this is about the most affordable full replacement grille on the market, and with the inclusion of this LED lighting, there is no denying that this is a good value. Our customers seem to agree as well, as this one is very highly rated on our site. So if you need a little extra push before you click that buy button, check out what some of the others have been saying. Installation gets a 1 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and you should plan on spending about 2 hours to get this done. Now popping the grille itself in is rather easy. All of the clipping points and all of the bolt holes are the same as your stock grille, so you'll just have to pop that right on in place. However, you are gonna have to do a little bit of wiring to get those lights to work. Now the lights themselves have the pigtails already installed, and you get a nice wiring harness in the kit as well, but you are gonna have to run power and ground for this. Definitely something a DIYer can do at home, and it's all pretty much set up for you. You really just have to route these cables and mount this power and ground cable up. And to show you exactly what's involved, let's jump over to the install bay now.
Tools required for this install include a ratchet, a clip remover tool, flathead and Phillips head screwdrivers, wire strippers and crimpers, some zip ties, a pair of pliers, scissors or diagonal cutters, plastic pry tool, some T-taps and male spades, 8 and 10 millimeter sockets, 10 millimeter ratcheting S-wrench, and some microfiber towels.
What's up guys? Today we're installing a grille on our Ram. First we're going to watch a quick uninstall video for how to remove your stock components, and then I'll meet you right back here for the install.
So we're going to start by removing our upper rad cover. There's a bunch of plastic clips that need to be removed, so I'm going to use my plastic clip removal tool and pop the heads of them open. And then once I get those all removed, I can pull the panel off. And we're gonna pull this panel right off. The next piece we need to remove is the headlight trim and grille trim here on the top of the vehicle. It's a combination of a pop clip and 10 millimeter screws. So I'm gonna use my clip tool once again and a 10 mil socket to pull all of these out, and then I can just remove this piece from the vehicle. Next, I'm gonna use my 8mm socket to remove some of the screws here on the inner wheel well and pull the liner back to expose a little bit more hardware that's hiding behind the liner so I can get this panel off that surrounds the headlight. So now that I have the liner pulled back, I've exposed this 10mm bolt here inside the wheel well liner, and I'm going to use my 10mm on a ratchet and just pull that out. Now I'll just repeat this process on the other side. Next, I'm going to need to remove my grill. There are 3 10mm bolts at the bottom of either side of the grill, and there are 4 across the top. I'll just use my 10mm socket on my small impact gun, remove all of those screws, and pull the grill off.
So now that we have our grill removed, we're gonna have to remove this center section of our grill to transfer it to our new one. Now we have 2 8mm bolts on each side, as well as 3 at the top and 2 on the bottom. So we'll grab an 8mm socket to get those out. So now we'll take our 8mm socket to remove all of our bolts. Now that we have all of our bolts removed, we can start prying on the tabs to pop this out. We have a bunch of these tabs around the grill that look just like this. So I'm going to be using a screwdriver to pop those out. And then I have some pry tools to put in between the two so that our clips don't go back into place while we're working on other clips. Now before we put the inner skin of our grill onto our new one, we're gonna get our wiring situated. So on our harness, we have 2 longer connectors that'll go to the farther side and 2 shorter ones for the shorter side. We removed our driver's side headlight, so we're gonna be running our harness towards the driver's side. So we'll just press all of our connectors on. So now we can clean up all of our wires. The way we're going to do that is by running all of our wires through this channel down here. So we'll start tucking everything in and until we get to a lot of wires, and we'll throw a zip tie there. And then you can use scissors or diagonal cutters to chop off the excess. Tuck that all away. And we're going to be running our wire out the side here. Next, we can reinstall the inner skin of our grill. Make sure everything's lined up. We're going to run our harness out of this little slit there. And then we can start pressing our inner skin down into place. Next, we can install our new hardware that's included in the kit. These are going to go in all of those factory bolt locations for the bolts we removed. So now the last piece of wiring we need to figure out is how we're going to power our LED lights. Now we have these terminal connectors that come on it. However, we're going to be using T-taps and male spades. So we're going to tap into our daytime running light harness and our headlight, which is why we removed that. So the T-tap will put a wire in on this metal piece. We'll close it up, grab a pair of pliers to crimp it down, and that'll make our connection. And then on our two wires, we'll be using male spades, and then these will just slide right into the T-tap like that to make our connection. So we just need to cut the ends off of our wires, strip some lead back, and then crimp on our connectors. And we'll use wire strippers to get some lead. And then we're going to twist up that lead. Slide our male spade onto the wire, and then we'll crimp that down. Then we'll do the same thing for our negative wire, and then we'll crimp that down as well. And now we can get our T-taps installed onto our daytime running light wires and get our grill installed onto the truck. So now we can come to the truck to our side marker connector. We have a black wire, that's our ground, and a white with a black stripe, that's our power. So we'll grab our T-taps and a pair of pliers and crimp these T-taps down onto these wires. So now we'll grab our T-tap, we're gonna take the little fork and put that around our wire. And then we'll close that up and grab a pair of pliers to crimp down on it. And then we'll just do that same thing for our power. So now we're ready to wire up our grill. I've got it just sitting on the ground in front of the truck because we're gonna have to get our headlight back in place before we put our grill on. So to run this, we're going to be running it straight to the driver's headlight bucket and into the T-taps that we just crimped onto our wires. We have a little gap between this plastic and our metal here that we can run it back and then drop it down into our headlight bucket. And then we can plug these into our T-taps. The red wire is going to go to the white wire with the black stripe, and our black wire is going to go to our black wire. So now we can just make those connections. And now with our two connections made, we can reinstall our headlight. So now we can reconnect our two connectors to our headlight and slide this into place. And now we can reinstall those two bolts. And now we can line everything up and tighten those down with a 10mm socket. So now we can grab our grill and raise that up into place. As we're doing that, we're gonna grab our harness from behind our headlight bucket and pull the slack on it as we lift this up. Next, we can grab all of our excess wire and bunch that up. And then we'll grab a zip tie to clean up our wiring. And then we'll use a pair of scissors or diagonal cutters to cut off our excess. And we can tuck that away. And now we can reinstall our upper trim. And then we'll install all of the bolts that hold that to our grill and reinstall our 4 upper grill bolts. So these longer bolts are gonna go in the top of our grill. And then our shorter bolts will go in our upper trim. And now we can grab our 10mm socket to tighten these all down. And now we'll do that same thing on the other side. And we'll do the same thing with our 10mm socket. Next, we can reinstall our radiator cover. Next, we can reinstall our 6 push clips per side. And now we'll just do that same thing on the other side. Next, we can come to the lower corners of our grill and reinstall our 3 bolts. The shorter one is going to the outside and the 2 longer ones are going towards the inside. And then we'll grab our 10mm socket to tighten these down. And then with our bolts installed, we can reinstall our cover. Next, we can reinstall that bolt that goes right there into our plastic piece. Now this is going to be hard to see, so you're just going to have to kind of do it by feel. And then we can take our 10mm ratcheting S-wrench to finish tightening that down. And then once we have that in place, we can reinstall our fender liner. And then we'll reinstall our 8mm bolts. And then we'll grab our 8mm socket to tighten these down. And then we'll do that same thing on the other side. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Red Rock Rebel style upper replacement grille with LED DRL in matte black for your 2019 and newer Ram 1500 Bighorn, Laramie, Lone Star, Tradesman, and excluding the Classic. Thank you for watching, and for all things Ram, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.